cost fact enables the user to set up a new cost estimation very quickly by reusing data of historical projects. To do so, the user first selects and copies this calculation from the past that provides the highest similarities with the new project. By applying cost class specific escalation factors, the cost and unit rates of this existing calculation can be automatically updated according to the current price level. Usually, not all parts of the previous calculation will match the new design completely. Therefore, in the second step, the user can browse other previously calculated vessels and search for specific subsystems with sufficient similarities. These project parts can then be imported into the current project together with their components and cost data. In the last step, the user calculates manually the remaining cost items without equivalents in existing projects. Because of the foregoing imports, this step has to be carried out only for a much reduced number of objects. In practice, the application of this calculation approach reduced the required time for a first cost estimate from 2 weeks to 4 hours. The following excerpt of a recently held webinar demonstrates this procedure.
When the task is to create a new project, we will typically search for an existing project with similarities. Here in this example, I'd like to create a complete new empty project to show you how it looks like. So it means I select Create New Project. And here in this window, I have to enter the number of a new project. For instance, building number 140 and the name of the project. Let's say Ocean OPV 2. So I confirm, and we have a new project right here. To open it, I double click, and that leads us to the calculation view. So here you see also it is a complete new empty project. Here's already the product breakdown structure with the different groups. On the right hand side, the table with the costs and quantities, of course, up to now complete empty. Now let's say we will start to collect costs and components from other projects, and we start with a main group propulsion plant 2000. So to do so, I select it, draw up this context menu, and select the item import cost. When doing so, this window is shown, and that displays for the selected group, so here the 2000, all projects which provide a calculation for this group. So typically in practice I will have a much bigger list than this few projects. So the first step will be to search within this list for similar projects, and that can be carried out by using these parameters. So since we are now working at the propulsion plant, I select propulsion power as one parameter that is probably influenced on the cost and shows the similarities. And after selecting it from the list, I have the possibility to filter the list by a kilowatt of this propulsion power. So let's say similar projects are between 10,000 and let's say 12,000 kilowatt. And so here the list is limited to those projects which are in this range. So the next step, I might look for a new project. So I sort it by price level, so the date, and here the latest one is this bearing tool. In the next step, to get more insight into this project, I open this short view. Now that displays for this group in question, the propulsion plant, the contained groups, and if I click, I see also the different cost items together with their costs and quantity, if I like to see. Okay, let's say I'm happy with this project, so I like to import the cost from this one. I click select project, and then cost fact checks the consistency between these two projects. So the cost will be imported from Bergen 2 to the new one, and here in the middle, cost fact displays if there are any inconsistencies, and the only alert that is given that concerns the surcharges. So here I see both projects have different overhead surcharges, but that is fine. During the import, the direct cost will automatically be charged by the overhead charges of the current project. So finally, I make some settings. How about cost rates and indexation? Here I select apply indexation. That means the cost will be escalated by these automatically calculated index values. They are calculated based on the indexation table populated by the administrator and the relevant dates of both projects. So all costs will be indexed from the price level of the Bergen 2 to the price level of the current project. So when saying cost import, all components together with their costs are imported and indexed. And here we see propulsion plant now contains costs, both material cost as well as manufacturing cost and production cost, so the total of both amounts. And if I go to the deeper levels, I also see the cost components themselves. So now let's say although that was a similar propulsion plant we imported, there might be some manual modifications necessary. To do so, I just select an item in question, double click, and that will open this window for manual cost import. So here I can enter new components. So let's say there is maybe some engineering. It required something like 30 hours, and each hour is 70 euro. Cost class engineering, and when I confirm, this cost item will also run, start a business hero, will also run into the calculation. And here we see the cost from the single items are summarized to the next level, to subtotals, and the cost of the complete vessel, so up to now only the propulsion plant, is shown on the topmost level. So finally, when importing costs from other projects, maybe using the indexation and then manual modification, it might be helpful to see how such a value was created. To get insight, it's sufficient to select it, the item in question, and then we will see here on the bottom a cost history. And by double click, I can show it completely, and here we see coming from the bottom, for this selected item in question, so the propulsion diesel engine, it was on this date imported external, so that means probably from an Excel file, and then it was modified by using cost factors all the time in this project, and now today topmost rows, we see we imported it from this Bergen 2 to our current project, and we used during the import the indexation value. So by using this cost history, it will be always possible, even in 10 years in another project, to see how this actual value was created. Okay, after confirming, we have this new project, up to now propulsion plan calculated. Further input.